Hello everyone, today I'm on day 21 of not drinking. Just to recap, I was a regular binge drinker, not physically addicted. I think that's important to know. I was probably drinking 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. Drinking at home wasn't too bad. I would drink between 1 and 5 sort of large but watered down gin and tonics at home, so that wasn't too bad. I generally didn't suffer hangovers so much, maybe just felt a bit foggy in the morning if I'd had more than usual. But I'd say most of the time drinking from home was probably more like just 2 or 3 drinks. That's my cat. My problem was when I went out, I was drinking too much because I felt like it gave me confidence, and I think I just have this desire to keep drinking once I start, and then that's when the problems happen. So that's a little bit about me and my drinking experience. So that puts everything I say now into perspective, hopefully. I wanted to share a few things with you. So the last time I updated, I said I was sort of feeling a little bit meh, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. I knew that I really felt like I needed to be getting outside, but the weather was really crap. And after I recorded that video, I watched a few videos, and there was one person who said that drinking numbs a lot of the thoughts and feelings that we have that we maybe don't want to experience, that you need to sit in those feelings or sit with those feelings. And I wasn't 100% sure what that meant. And then I found myself just scrolling on my phone, clicking into one app after another app, and I felt like I was searching for something or looking for something, and I knew that it wasn't healthy for me just to keep touching my phone screen, to just keep on and on and on. And I thought, what is this about? This is really strange. So I remembered what she said about sitting with your feelings. I put my phone away and I said, okay, fine. I will sit here and just see, sort of like inquire to myself, how am I feeling, what's going on? And I didn't really think too much. I just thought I'd just sit here and see what happens. And the weirdest thing was, immediately, the first thing that came up was a grief. And I just started thinking about my last cat, Sweetie, who I lost in 2021. And she was my constant companion. I had her for 14 years. She was almost dog-like in her loyalty, the way that she needed to be with me all the time. And we had a real special bond. And for whatever reason, that the grief and the sadness around that, her losing her, came up. I feel emotional talking about it. So that was one thing that came up, and I just let the thoughts and the feelings just kind of do what they needed to do. I just, as this person had said, just sat with it. And then it kind of moved on to me realising that I'm lonely. Now, that's kind of embarrassing to admit. I think no one likes to admit that they're lonely. We like to say that we're, what's the word? We're independent, and we're self-sufficient. And I am those things, and I actually love my own company, and I generally need time on my own. If I am in a relationship, I can find it sometimes a little claustrophobic, and I think that's because I'm the kind of person that molds myself around other people. I need to work on that. I need to, if the next time I get into a relationship, I need to make sure I retain time to myself to do the things I need to do, and not kind of be pushed into seeing someone every single night, because that makes me start to find my life a little overwhelming. But yeah, it kind of occurred to me that I was lonely. Every time I see happy couples, I have a positive feeling. Like, I'm not a jealous person generally, but it always triggers something in me. Like I go, oh, you know, I know that I want that. I want a healthy relationship, and I think I haven't had one of those before, and there's reasons for that. We won't go there. But that's what I feel. I think I feel lonely. I don't have a constant companion. I have friends I see here and there, usually with a reasonable amount of time between. I'm not really one for phone conversations. I don't really like calling friends just to chat. I don't know why. I like real life interaction, and I don't have a regular person, I suppose, a really close person. I know I can reach out to my friends and I know that they'll be there for me, but I'm living here on my own. I don't even have colleagues that I interact with face to face. We share the responsibility of one of us being in the office at any time. So I sit in an office on my own completely. I might see a few people if I'm working on a day shift. I might see a few people that I know around and about while I'm going to get a coffee or going to the loo. But apart from that, I sit on my own in the office and I am completely alone at home. So now, why am I getting emotional? My parents both live away, far away. My mum's in France, my dad's in Nottingham. I do have my brother, but again, see him and his family from time to time, which is great. So I think it's just occurred to me that maybe I'd quite like to meet someone, but not rush into it like I always have in the past, which is probably a large part down to alcohol. So that was a revelation, and then I had a good cry while I was kind of like going through all of that, and then I think I just went to bed quite early and I woke up feeling a lot better, and I have been in a much better mood since. And I think it helped me because then I thought, well, do you know what, you need to get out more, because I think one of the things is I was getting some sort of interaction going to the pub. I was chatting to different guys. I guess I thought in my head maybe I'll meet someone in the pub, but obviously that wouldn't have been ideal because then they would have been a drinker. I never would have gone into going sober, I think, because I'm very easily influenced, unfortunately. Have been my whole life. I need to work on that. So, but what it did spur me on to do was to have a look and see if there were any sober events. And there was one called Sober Socials. It was a mix and mingle dry January. It's in London, and I just signed up for it. Initially, I was like, no, I don't know if I want to do this. I'll think about it. And then I thought, well, if I don't sign up for it right now, I know I won't go. So I did. I signed up for it, and then it was on a Thursday night. Thursday just gone, and I remember being on the train on the way there, having more nerves than I have before a job interview. I'm not joking. The idea of going to a social event, it was held in a hotel. There was mocktails, so it's kind of like going to a party, but where I didn't know anyone and I wouldn't have alcohol as my crutch. I would normally use alcohol to help me feel more confident, to loosen me up, to make me more chatty. Knowing that I didn't have that, normally I would, if I was going on the train somewhere, I'd be drinking on the train. I'd be having pre-drinks at home, drinking on the train. Then by the time I even got to the event, I'm loosened up enough to feel more social and more open to meeting new people. And I was on the train, not drinking, knowing that I can't drink, I'm not going to drink, feeling so much nerves, it was ridiculous. I walked in, and luckily I walked in at the same time as another lady who was on her own. She was really friendly, introduced herself. Then she went off to chat to other people that she hadn't seen for a while. And so I stood at the bar. That you had a welcome drink, which was delicious, by the way. The mocktails were delicious. So I had this welcome drink, and I stood at the bar feeling, I don't know, shit. Feeling like I wanted to run out of the door. Feeling like I stuck out like a sore thumb. Feeling awkward. And then that was about 10 minutes. It felt like an hour. And then a lovely lady came over and said, "Oh, are you on your own? Come and join us." And then I got chatting to all these ladies, and they'd all come on their own. And I had a nice conversation, learn about everyone's reasons for being there, for being sober. And then the rest of the night was much better. There was this thing where you had a conversation card and you had to go and find someone and ask them this question, and then they ask you the question back. So basically they got you interacting with other people, which was great. So I had a couple of really nice conversations there, and it all was okay. And right at the end, once the chatting was over, I suddenly found myself alone again and feeling awkward again. So I did grab my coat and leave. It was almost over anyway. And I feel like it was a win, even though there were some awkward moments. I feel like I feel proud of myself for going and for doing it, and I enjoyed it mostly. But it also showed to me that I'm not quite sure that I'm ready for that kind of thing. And what I want to do is find events that aren't like parties and drinking type things. I would rather get to know people, get to meet new people in different situations. And so that leads me on to, I decided that going on a course or something would be a great way of meeting new people. And I had a little look around the local adult education stuff, see what courses are available. And I've signed myself up for a Spanish course because one of my aims in life is eventually I'd like to live abroad. And I was between France and Spain because I speak a little bit of both from spending time in both of those places, and I learnt French at school. But I think I'm more likely to go to Spain than I am to France. The course is over a few months. It's one day, sort of a few hours once a week. So I've signed myself up for a Spanish course, and I'm excited to do that, to actually properly learn Spanish. I learned some sentences and some words when I worked in Tenerife. I know most of the words for the food and the drink, but it'd be good to learn it properly. So I'm excited for that, and hopefully I'll meet a new friend or something, who knows. And one of the things people say that you get when you stop drinking is a clarity of thought. And I'm not sure I noticed anything at first, but I think I am speaking better. Recently, over the last year or so, I started to wonder if I was getting dementia because I was struggling to find the right words for things. I'd have a conversation and then all of a sudden I just couldn't find the word, the one particular word. And another thing that I do, and I am still doing this, is I sing along to a song and I just get the word wrong. I'll put a word in there that sounds like the word that should be there, but it's completely wrong and it has a different meaning altogether. So I am still doing that actually, but what I think I'm not doing is having as much trouble when I'm making sentences. Okay, maybe I am still bad. But I do think that I'm less often losing the right word. So maybe things are repairing in my brain. Maybe I'm not getting dementia. Or I also thought it could be menopausal. But that's also led me to think that I want to improve my brain, and that I think learning Spanish will do that. But also I've just put a little app on my phone that sort of tests your different skills and sort of trains your brain a little bit. So I'm going to do that every day. They're just little games, like word games and other games. So I want to improve and hopefully repair some of the damage I've done over the years to my brain cells. And then finally, going on with this clarity of thought, I had this thought that I've expanded on and I've really thought about, that I noticed I was lighting a lot of incense and candles, and I thought, well, this is kind of like a ritual, lighting the incense, and I'm really enjoying doing that. And I use incense anyway. I have done for a long time, but it's become a much more every day thing, and it's a sort of like a ritual for me now. And I thought, well, drinking is a ritual in a way. And I thought, well, drinking is, and this is also in the book Naked Mind by Annie Grace. She talks about all the myths about alcohol and the things that we believe about alcohol because of either the stories we tell ourselves, the marketing, the way we see alcohol on the TV and in films. So we believe that alcohol is glamorous, it makes us more social, it makes our conversations more sparkling. And of course, we know all of that really isn't true. So I've got a little, I mean, it's very crude, but you can see all the things that I believe about drinking is that, I have believed about drinking is that it makes me relax, it helps me to dance, it can feel glamorous. So in terms of glamour, I remember being on holiday once and I found this lovely bar that had outdoor seating and you could look at the harbour and the boats and things, and I thought, oh wow, what a glamorous setting. I'm going to have a glass of wine because that's really glamorous. And of course we know that if you drink more than a few drinks, it's not glamorous at all. And so what I thought was, looking at drinking instead of as a flat thing, see it as multi-dimensional. See it for all the things you see it for. So if you think it helps you relax, I think what's a good thing to do is to look at the reality of it. Does it help you relax? Maybe at the first one or two drinks, but then it kind of causes problems, interrupts your sleep, you don't get proper sleep, you might feel groggy and shitty the next day. That's not relaxing. So first of all, dispel the myth, and then I think take it a step further, fill that hole. See, because you still feel like, even though you know for a fact it's not really relaxing, you still kind of have that feeling. It's hard to break that feeling that alcohol relaxes you. So I'm thinking, I need to replace the relaxing feeling in my life, in my daily life. So what can I do to relax instead? And then it's nice to have a whole list of things that you know that make you feel relaxed. Is it a long bath? That kind of thing. And then the same with the glamour. What makes me feel glamorous? Not just drinking, because we know it's not really glamorous to drink, but there are ways to feel more glamorous, whether that's making more of an effort with your appearance, or whether you just try and glamorize aspects of your life. You could take yourself out on a really nice date, get dressed up, or go out, if you're in a couple, go out on a nice date together. So there are ways to add these things into your life that would probably make you less likely to feel that you need to drink alcohol. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So I've got one on here, tough. Sometimes you drink too much, and then you still go to work the next day and you're feeling really rough, and you feel like, yeah, I'm tough, I can handle it. Or you might feel like you can drink anyone under the table. Again, everyone goes, yeah, she or he's like proper hard drinker. They're always the last one standing. So, they're obviously not really great things to be, actually, but they might just validate and give you like validation feelings and sort of stroke your ego a little bit. And so how can you do that for yourself without alcohol? How can you make yourself feel like you are tough? And actually, first of all, just by giving up alcohol, that is showing that you have a strength of character. If you want to fill that gap, if that's important to you, maybe you can go for some kind of self-defense classes or kickboxing or some other physical strength, whether that's sort of like distance running, cycling, all of that kind of thing. Or mental toughness, maybe you can take up chess and like really study it and get good at chess, but of course all of these things, they need to be something that you want to do and that it will feel good. So I'm not going to become a chess champion, I can tell you that. I actually quite enjoy chess, but I reached a level which is not that high, and I really struggle to get past it. So I'll just play the computer every now and then with for a game of chess, and that's also, I think, good for the brain. So yeah, there's all these things. As I said, ritual for me, I'm lighting a lot of incense and candles. You could have a really nice glass and make yourself a nice drink, obviously non-alcoholic drink. You can introduce certain rituals into your life, but these have to be personal to me, and if it's something that you're going to do, they need to be personal to you. One of the things I've written is confidence. That's the biggest thing for me. Alcohol felt like it made me confident, and even though I know that all it did was numb my front cortex and numb my ability to hold myself back from making a fool of myself, I still feel like I want to fill that hole of how can I get real confidence. And I think that's a much bigger thing, a bigger hole to fill than, say, glamour. So I think for me, I need to do the things that make me feel confident, and I probably need to do some actual work on my confidence, my self-esteem. So that's a much bigger category. I'm considering therapy. That was my thoughts on that. I was just seeing alcohol as as this multifaceted thing that we see it as, and we feel that alcohol does these things for us. And I think if we can fill those little gaps that we now have with other things, give us little bits of those feelings, then I just think it might make things a bit easier, and it might fill our lives a little more, because I think life can feel, you take something away, and it's not only alcohol for me, it's the social side of it, of going to the pub and interacting with people. Take that away, you've got to fill it with something else. So that's what I'm going to be working on. And then a couple of other things I've made a note of here. I worked out roughly how much I spent on alcohol. I looked at 3 months spending and worked out the averages. Now I've included my Uber rides in with this, as well as potentially the mixers that I might buy at the supermarket. The supermarket is really vague because I sometimes go and shop, sometimes I shop online. I'm guessing I bought a couple of bottles of spirit a month. It probably wasn't quite that. And then all the mixers. So yeah, I've included the money I spend in the pub, because I always use my debit card, so that's all there. I had to guess at what I spent on holiday because I went away in October and November. So I've kept everything less than it probably was. Bit of an estimate really, but it looks like I was spending around £320 on average a month on booze, including, as I say, the Ubers as well. That works out as £3,840 a year, roughly £10.52 a day. So that's a lot of money. One thing I've noticed, and I have not set myself any rule about this, but I haven't had a takeaway since I stopped drinking. Now, normally I probably would have had at least 2. And I put that down to when you've got a hangover, you really don't have the energy to go shopping for food, and you don't have the energy to cook, and you also really crave takeaway type food. Because I've been a lot more organised, because sometimes I'd get a takeaway even if I wasn't hungover, and that's because there's just not much in the fridge. But because I've had extra time, because I've not been out drinking, I've not been wasting time hungover, I have been going to the supermarket a lot more. I've kept my fridge stocked up. I've been buying more healthy. Someone's letting fireworks off. I've been buying more healthy food, and I haven't bought a takeaway. And as I say, there was no rule. I've never said to myself, don't get takeaways. It just hasn't happened, because I think the only time I get a takeaway is because I'm really hungry and I haven't got any food. I am gaining weight still. And night shifts are really difficult for me. I'm about to do my 4th night shift in a row. Night shifts, I do tend to overeat and eat the wrong things. I have been eating lots of more healthier stuff than I normally would, and with a few naughty stuff in as well. But I just think, generally speaking, I've just been feeling more hungry and feeling like I need to eat more. I want to get it under control. I have been walking a lot more since my last update. I've been a lot more stronger with myself on getting out and walking. So I've set myself a goal of 7,000 steps a day because I don't want to gain any more weight because it makes me feel crap. I'm not going to go on any fatty diets, but I'm just going to up my protein, down my carbs, and do more exercise and see if I can get some of the weight off. That's it. So thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a long one. If you're still here, I really, really appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and also do give the video a thumbs up. See you later.